It's the Stand On It podcast. It's true.
Sit down, you gotta stand on it. If it's for certain, let's have around, you gotta stand on it. Open the curtain, it's going down, you gotta stand on it. Cause I put my stamp on it, so you gotta stand. You gotta stand on it. 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 You gotta stand.
First off, I want to say, pardon my voice. I didn't have a voice at all yesterday, but I knew it was going to work out today because I needed to come in here and talk to y'all. So we here. So we going to get right into it. Tuesday night, LeBron James broke Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring record in the NBA. Congratulations. I wasn't watching that. This is what I was on.
I know a lot of you always kid me for always quoting my dad, but my dad used to say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. He really would say this. It's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. Well, folks, so let's look at the results. We're not finished yet by any stretch of the imagination, but unemployment rate is at 3.4%, a 50-year low. A near record unemployment. Near record unemployment for black and Hispanic workers. We've already created, your help, 800,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs, the fastest growth in 40 years. And where is it written? Where is it written that America can't lead the world in manufacturing? And I don't know where that's written. For too many decades, we imported projects and exported jobs. Now, thanks to what you've all done, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs. Folks, inflation has been a global problem because the pandemic disrupted our supply chains, and Putin's unfair and brutal war in Ukraine disrupted energy supplies as well as food supplies, blocking all that grain in Ukraine. But we're better positioned than any country on earth right now. But we have more to do. But here at home, inflation is coming down. Here at home, gas prices are down $1.50 from their peak. Food inflation is coming down, not fast enough, but coming down. Inflation has fallen every month for the last 6 months, while take-home pay has gone up. Additionally, over the last 2 years.
So, yeah, that's what I was on Tuesday night. Because you got to know what's going on to know what's going on, if that makes any sense. So I want to highlight a couple of things. So Joe Biden says all of these things. He said gas prices are going down. And one of the things he highlighted, he said $1.50 from their peak. He didn't say going down from what they usually average, their peak. So that means they were inflated in the first place for it to go down from the peak. Then the second thing is, yeah, Joe, gas prices have gone down. People can't afford to drive. People are working from home as well. So when you want to give yourself a pat on the back and kudos, you got to make sure you're painting the whole picture. Then he says, wages are going up? Where? Because unless I've been reading the wrong stuff, tech companies are laying off. A lot of companies are laying off. People are talking about how, hey, my paycheck don't even pay my bills anymore. You see the joke that people keep making about how high eggs are, $9. But you're talking about it's going down? Where? And when he came into the State of the Union address, he talked about all these things we were going to talk about. He talked about that we had an outside threat. And then if you notice, he said, we're doing better than any other country in the world. Really? Really? So what I was confused about, I'm like, I watched the entire thing. And I'm sitting down waiting for him because I'm in South Carolina. And South Carolina got a little notoriety over the last week with the Chinese spy balloon. See, I did air quotes, the Chinese spy balloon that flew over South Carolina that was shot down in Charleston. He never even mentioned that. He said it was an outside threat, but he never came in and said anything about, okay, how do we acknowledge that outside threat? What are we doing? He never mentioned the fact that whether y'all want to acknowledge it or not, we're at war with Ukraine right now. We're at war with Russia through Ukraine right now. Why you think you keep pumping so much money over there? Then there was no real definitive, oh, this is what we're going to do to help the American people to get back on their feet or to see through this recession. Don't wait till they put it on the news to realize we're in a recession, because we are. Whether you want to believe it or not, we're in a recession. He also spent and again, if you didn't watch it, don't worry about it. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes. He spent a lot of time just talking about things that really didn't matter, that the American people aren't concerned about, which I didn't even know was a thing. Airline fees. Resorts charging resort prices that are not resorts. Are American people really concerned about that, Joe? When they can't feed their kids, they can't pay their bills, you think they worried about hopping on an airplane to take a trip? Or go to a resort? So while I'm watching it, I'm posting real time. So I'm posting and I'm asking questions like, what's going on with this? And people responding and commenting with me. At the end of it all, when they was like, he ended it like, this is it. I posted, what's the plan? You talked all this time, people getting up and down, just clapping, you acknowledging all these people. And what's the plan? And then it dawned on me. You shouldn't expect a plan from him. I should not have expected a plan from Joe Biden. But it also dawned on me that, guess what? This country, like most people that you come in contact with, lacks direction. This country, like most people that you come in contact, lack direction. I want to bring to your attention a few things that just shows how big of a lack of direction we have. Look at the screen. Look at these nice, beautiful young ladies. I'm sure they're probably famous. I don't know them. But this is pictures from the Rock Nation brunch, right? Look at them. They got on their dresses. They just chilling. Nice picture. Now look at this picture. Now I do know one of these individuals. Well, I know two in the picture. In the middle, that's 2 Chainz. On the left of him, that looks like Tyler, the Creator. Now, do you know anything different in these 2 pictures? Now, the women in their pictures, they don't have any purses. Why in the men's picture, 2 out of 3 of the men in the picture carrying something similar to a purse? 2 Chainz holding one down like a woman, like it's a purse. The dude beside him, he got a crossbody. The picture of the women, they have no bags. See what I'm saying about we lack direction? But these are the people we look up to for guidance and we want to emulate because they are a celebrity. But they're misguided. when you start seeing men carrying purses and women ain't, that's a lack of guidance. Let me show you something else. Shows a huge lack of guidance. Check out this video.
I don't give a fuck if you're an adult or not. You're not gonna talk to me like that, you dumbass bitch. You're not gonna talk to me like that. Bitch, you're not gonna talk to me like that. You're not gonna talk to me like that. You dumbass playing in my face right now.
You need to give her a cushion. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
Put your hands on me. Yeah, I swear to God, if you don't get your hands, put your hands on me. Get your hands on me. I'm just so sweet.
Oh God damn!
A huge lack of guidance. What we just watched was a teenage girl in Georgia attacking a teacher and breaking her leg. Yeah, teenage girl in Georgia attacking a teacher and breaking her leg. So let's talk about this for a minute. I would never, let me tell you something. I'm going to take that back because I'm going to keep it real. I ain't going to say never. One time it crossed my mind and I kind of got out of body and tried to come at my pops wrong. Now, it wasn't that I'm thinking I'm going to fight my dad and beat my dad. It's just I'm older now. I'm like 14, 15, so I'm trying to buck up a little bit. He immediately let me know that was a bad idea. When I realized what was going on, holding the side of my face, it was immediately apparent to me, I'm not going to try that again or even have that thought. There's a level of respect there. That's my parent. That's my elder. And that's how they raised us. You show respect for your elders. See, we don't have that no more in society. For a child to think, and I don't give a damn what they talking about. People was making excuses. Oh, well, the teacher talked to her rudely. What? I remember hearing this so much coming up. You a child, stay in a child's place. But now you got parents who, oh, that's my best friend. They want to be friends. They don't want to be parents. They want to be friends. And I don't know this young lady's home situation. But just seeing her reaction and thinking this is acceptable and yelling, you're not going to talk to me like that, and putting hands on this older lady, that's a strong lack of guidance. I don't have to be in her house to know that. You know what else? The kids that sat around, recorded, laughing, they lack the same guidance. Because you know why? Take that back a few years. If I would have seen something like that coming up, somebody attacking an older person, I'm whooping their ass. Point blank. I'm not going to ask no questions about that. At minimum, it's getting broke up if I don't take it to whooping their ass. But see, we sit here and we like, instead of being accountable, we say, oh, well, she shouldn't have talked to her like that, and we're investigating to make sure because she kept saying the teacher talked to her rudely. We can't do that. It's time that we start a level of accountability, and we hold ourselves to a level of accountability and realize we are looking at the wrong people for direction because they lack direction themselves. It's apparent in what they do. It's apparent in how Joe Biden addressed the nation. It's apparent in how these guys were carrying handbags at the Rock Nation brunch. All of these people are lacking guidance. Think about this. A lot of us come into the world we're already on a self-guided tour. Yeah. A lot coming to the world already on a self-guided tour. Here's why. Absentee fathers. Mothers that don't know who the father is. Mothers that, oh, I can't do this alone. I'm going to get this baby up for adoption. Now they in the system. Already coming into the world on a self-guided tour. With that self-guided tour that comes, there's no internal moral compass. They don't have an internal moral compass that's going to guide them where they need to go. And here, these were the highlights of it. Like, coming into the world, no moral compass, nothing telling them where to go. There was a professor. They call him PD Johnny. He's an Indian professor. His last name is too hard to pronounce. So I'm going to go with the nickname, PD Johnny. PD Johnny he's a professor. He's written a lot of self-help books. So I read one of his articles, and it was talking about guidance. Here are the articles. Here's the highlight of where he was breaking down on guidance. He said, what's your guide when it comes to these things? That's the first thing we got to realize. Like, what is our guide? What are we looking at for guidance? But pay attention to the screen. So in short, guidance will be required. To understand oneself, one's talents, abilities, and potentialities, and also the limitations. To recognize and develop favorable attitudes and habits, and the elimination of undesirable traits. To develop resourcefulness and self-direction and adapting to changes in society. To select appropriate courses in line with individual needs, interests, abilities, and circumstances. To get information on occupational opportunities and trends and suitable employment. That's what you're looking for. That's what you get when you're getting guidance. That's what you should be getting. But when you look into the wrong people for guidance, you're not going to get that. So ask yourself, what's your guide? Is it what I mentioned? Celebrities? Is it money? Could it be even your heart? Could it even be the poor examples of the people you have around you? I was talking to somebody the other day, and they was talking about the conditions of the world. How hateful people are. And it was kind of refreshing, and I told these people, that lets me know you're alert. That lets me know you're alert. See, some of y'all are walking around envious, jealous, full of hatred. You don't even realize it. You know why? Because you're surrounded with the same type people who possess those same traits. And it comes off to you like this is normal behavior. But it's not normal behavior. Not at all. We have to stop and think for a moment. Okay, this person that I'm acknowledging as somebody of influence, this person I'm acknowledging as somebody of character, the list that I just read that PD Johnny talked about, when you're looking for guidance, do they possess those qualities? Are they motivating you to do those type things? If they're not motivating you to do those type things, that's not somebody you should be really looking at for guidance. But see, we've taken on, it's all good. It made them successful. It don't matter if they're successful. Being successful don't make you a good example. We tie money and fame with being a good example. Now that may be an example for how you can go get some money or how you can do certain things, but an example of character and who you want to emulate to build your character, most of these people don't fit that bill. But don't take my word for it. The Bible been told us it don't belong for a man to direct his own steps. A man Key word, man. Look at the screen. Jeremiah 10:23. O Lord, I know the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man who walks to direct his own steps. It's not in man who walks to direct his own steps. But yet we keep trying. But the key word I want y'all to keep focus on is man, right? All right, so I'm going to tie all this in a minute. So when we talked about people all around, they jealous, they full of hate. Look at the screen. I want you to look at this. Here's a picture of Anthony Davis. This is after LeBron won the scoring title, all-time scoring title. You see everybody else, they got their arms up, they're elated, they're happy, they're smiling, the fans are going crazy. Anthony Davis is sitting there like, man, I'm over this shit. Now, some people say, oh, he's a hater. Anthony Davis is a hater. That's just how it came out. Man, as much as AD get injured, he may have been thinking, I don't want to jump up and do too much and hurt myself and be out for the rest of the year. I don't know. But a lot of people said, hey, he's a hater. I don't look at that as hate. I look at it as he's doing what he feels he needs to do in the moment. For whatever reason, he's doing what he needs to do in the moment. You want to know a real hating situation? Excuse me. That really shows about that lack of guidance? Give you an example of a hating situation I was privy to coming up. There was a dude who was so in love with this girl. She ain't want nothing to do with him. She had eyes for this other dude. They was all hanging out at a party. Dude had a few drinks. He wasn't drunk. He lead a party. The dude who wanted the girl that didn't want him made an anonymous call that there was someone driving drunk, swerving. You know, buddy got locked up for a DUI. Now, if that ain't one of the biggest forms of hate, I don't know what is. You put somebody's, and before y'all get into it, I know y'all gonna say, well, he was putting other people's life in danger driving drunk. He wasn't drunk. You know that the breathalyzer level is saying, it's not really saying this person is drunk. This is the level you shouldn't be driving in, is what they're saying. That's why you'll see people who will blow and they'll still pass the breathalyzer test. I mean, they'll pass the field sobriety test, but they may fail the breathalyzer. Anyway, this dude did that. And that's when I knew then, like, people are cutthroat. For you to do something like that, all over a girl who don't want you, what else are you willing to do? But here's the reality of the situation. He ain't the only one in the world like that. It's people right now you sit next to who are the same way. They just looking for the opportunity for you to have one too many and get behind the wheel. Figuratively. You're around those same type people right now. I have a tattoo on my body. It's the one. And it stands for 3 hate always, 1 never envies. Men, women, they hate, and then we hate ourselves. God never hates. A higher power never hates. Remember I told you I was going to tie this all in when it said man should not be directing his steps. It doesn't belong to him. God should be directing his steps, right? So Mary had a song years ago. Mary, they gospel singers, 2 women. They had a song years ago that was called It's the God in Me. From that song, they were referencing how people saw them thriving and they wondered, like, yo, how you doing all that? And one of the things they said, like, it's the God in me. Y'all don't see me on bended knee behind closed doors. It's the God in me. Now, Mary was referencing a higher power. But what I'm going to tie in and reference is the God in you and us. Now, when I say that, people say, and I've said that before, and people like, oh, that's kind of arrogant there. You know, that's a little arrogant saying that you're a God. That shows me you have a lack of understanding. Because like Mary, you can't judge that. You went behind closed doors with me. You don't see how I refine myself. You don't see how I educated myself. You don't see how I meditate. So what I'm showing you is the results of what I was doing behind closed doors. So if I say it's a God in me, you got to respect that. So the scripture says it don't belong to man to direct his steps. Find understanding within yourself. You can be a good God for your own self. You don't got to look at nobody else. You don't have to do that. So remember at the beginning I talked about how, hey, we lack guidance. There's a huge lack of guidance. Joe Biden just left everybody like, what's next? Sarah Huckabee, governor out of Arkansas. I think she's the youngest female governor ever. I think she's 40. Governor out of Arkansas. Man, she wasn't going for it. Sarah Huckabee came in and said, hey, I got it. Check this video out. Sorry about that.
First woman to lead my state. And he's the first man to surrender his presidency to a woke mob that can't even tell you what a woman is. I'm the first woman to lead my...
What she just said. First woman to lead her state. First president to submit to a woke mob who can't even tell you what a woman is. Remember when we started this whole pod? I said it's back to making men again. Now, I know y'all didn't watch the State of the Union address. One of the things he said in the State of the Union address, he said, I've signed 300 and something bills since my presidency, one of which allows people to marry who they're in love with. See how he chose his words wisely? He wasn't going to say he's supporting gay marriage. He wasn't going to come out and say that, but that's what he was saying. He tiptoed around it. Sarah Huckabee came in and said, hey, he's just fell victim to this woke mob that don't even know what a woman is. You remember that whole thing came up last year? Well, it's like, oh, well, what is a woman? I don't know. We can't really put a label on that. We can't define a woman. That was so eye-opening to me of where we really are as a society, that no longer can we define a woman. Just let that sink in for a minute. No longer can we don't know what a woman is. We got to put out pronouns so that we make sure that we can understand who this is. That's a huge lack of guidance. And Sarah Huckabee came in and said, no, I'm not going for that. But this is who we look to. I'm not going to say we. This is who a lot of people look to, the President of the United States, for guidance. He's completely misguided himself. He don't want to stand on anything. He tiptoes around. He's only going to say what he think the people want him to say. Misguided. So let's look at her second video.
Of their failures, the Biden administration seems more interested in woke fantasies than the hard reality Americans face every day. Most Americans simply want to live their lives in freedom and peace. But we are under attack in a left-wing culture war we didn't start and never wanted to fight. Every day we are told we must partake in their rituals, salute their flags, and worship their false idols. All while big government colludes with big tech to strip away the most American thing there is, your freedom of speech. That's not normal. It's crazy. And it's wrong. And while you reap the consequences.
So I remember always hearing, I would see it flying anytime military people were around. America, land of the free, home of the brave. Unfortunately, where we are now, it's the land of the indebted and the home of the enslaved. That's where we are right now. Sarah Huckabee highlighted that. There's this woke mob, and when you start silencing freedom of speech, that's a dangerous place to be. When you're silencing freedom of speech. When you start telling people, I'm not going to say him when I see a her. I'm not going to say her when I see a him. But if people don't agree with that, oh, they hate. They don't, that we can't have that. That's not hatred. We can't force our beliefs and ideologies on other people. I'm going to keep it real to myself. Me and my girlfriend live together. According to the Bible, we're sinning. We're not married. We're sinning. Me making that choice of us living together, I got to be willing for the consequences that come with that. And I'm not talking about any consequences in the relationship. I'm talking about how Bible thumpers may look at that. Like, oh, y'all living in sin. If they say that to me, how can I get offended? That's their perception. That's their belief. That's their freedom of speech. But we'll get offended when people don't want to go along with that. Let me give you another example. This was back in like 2006 or 7. I'm on an airplane. Get on the airplane. Now, mind you, I told y'all I used to be almost 600 pounds. So I get on the airplane. I'm sitting down. Now, at that time, my stomach's out to here. So I'm fighting with the seatbelt. I'm like, I know this shit ain't gonna work. So the stewardess comes by. She says, yeah, I'm gonna have to get you a seatbelt extender. But when she said it, a silence had came over the plane. It was like just perfect timing. People were quiet and she said that. I got offended. Why would I get offended when I'm the one who's overweight? You know why? Because I wasn't comfortable with myself. That's the exact reason all these people on eggshells and getting offended. Oh, you can't say that. You homophobic. No, it's not. You're not comfortable with yourself. I'm comfortable with me. So I don't care if anybody says, oh, you living in sin, you shacking up. That's your opinion. I can't get offended by that. That's your free speech. If somebody says, I'm not calling you him, I see a she. How would we get offended by that? That don't mean you hate people. I have people who choose alternative lifestyles that are friends of mine. And you know what they say to me? Man, the way these people acting, I don't get it. But the media portrays it like, oh, man, everybody there's a hatred for the LGBTQ community. No, it's not. I don't have hate in my heart for nobody. What we have to understand as a people, whatever choice you choose to make, number one, you got to be comfortable with it. And number two, you got to understand it comes with consequences. You done heard people say, I'm sure in your life, because I heard it growing up, you date outside your race, Be ready for what come with that. And it was especially for black men. Because they will be talking about, oh, if you out in public, people go be chiming in, looking at you funny because y'all in an interracial relationship. If I wanted to do that, I don't care what nobody else saying. Because I'm comfortable with me. And that's what we got to get to. I was talking to somebody earlier. And they brought up how, oh, the LGBTQ community and black people are just getting so bombarded and hated on. No, it's the media magnifying that. You got to come here to hear the real. They telling y'all that bullshit. Give you an example. They put an article out a while ago. I commented on that shit on Facebook and people got upset. The title read, "Trans Man Killed in a Home Invasion." Now, if you don't do your research and you just pay attention to the media, you're like, oh, man, killing trans people, man. That's a hate crime. I read the article. I researched. He was committing a home invasion, attempted robbery. The homeowner killed him. Why didn't the title say, "Man killed in home invasion gone wrong"? Because that's what it was. Why did the title say, "Trans man killed in home invasion"? That didn't even matter. But see, that's what people want to put out there so that they can run this agenda and get everybody in divided against each other. I don't care what side you choose to be on. I don't care what lifestyle you choose to live. If you comfortable with it, that's all that matter. But if I say, hey man, this ain't what I'm gonna do, or that don't make me a hater. That don't make me somebody who wants to see bad happen to you. No. Like I said, I genuinely have no hate in my heart for anybody. But the world has slowly started to program everybody. You can't say anything that goes outside of the agenda that's placed in front of you every single day. And that shows there is a huge lack of guidance. Huge lack of guidance. But unlike President Joe Biden, I'm not going to leave you saying, what's the plan? This is what I want everybody to take away. This is what I want everybody to think of tonight. This is what I want you to challenge yourself over the next few days. Just really challenge yourself. Examine yourself. Spend time looking at the things that you don't like about yourself. It's easy to go and look at the things you like about yourself, your characteristics. Spend time with the things you don't like about yourself. Address those. Take some time to meditate. Slow down a little bit. We always moving. Slow down. Be with your thoughts. Be in a dark place. Get your thinking together. Really analyze what it is that you don't like about yourself. When you do that, you sculpt that God that's within, that I was telling you about. You sculpt that God that's within you. And when you do, now you're ready to be the example to people, to get them that direction. You ain't gonna have people saying, what's the plan? Now you got your GPS set. You got your moral compass. Even if you came into the world on a self-guided tour, now got that God within you. You can walk and direct your own steps. Hey, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Like I said, keep tuning in. You need to come here to get this type of content. The feedback has been phenomenal. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate everybody sharing, talking about it, creating dialogue. I appreciate those as well who can have dialogue without being offended. That's what it's about. Everybody can have a difference of viewpoint. We don't all have to agree, but we should be able to sit down and get that viewpoint out without anybody looking at us and judging us. That's a problem in the world. Keep in mind, audio episode drops every Friday, all major podcast platforms. The video episode drops on YouTube on Thursdays. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, turn your notifications on so you know when there's good content coming out. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you follow us, the I Say Podcast Network. Until then, it's true.
Come and sit down, you gotta stand on it. If it's for certain, less of around, you gotta stand on it. Open the curtain, it's going down, you gotta stand on it. Cause I put my stamp on it, so you gotta stand. You gotta stand on it. 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 You gotta stand.